This is amazing, but it leads me to wonder what happened when you told mom and dad, I want to be an actress.
My father, for sure, in the beginning, just couldn't stomach it because for him, the difference between a prostitute and an artist wasn't very far. There was just a very great misunderstanding. I think it only came later in the years where he understood what my ethics were, what my focus was on, what I did, how he looked like, to turn on the television and see his daughter and the work I was doing and how much work it takes actually to get a role, to do a role, to maintain a series. How many people watch it? How many people got entertained? I think he started to understand, and in a very silent, old-fashioned way, he gave me a lot more respect as I was growing older. Milton Katselis, I think, is an absolute legend. He's no longer with us for many years, but I did study at the Beverly Hills Playhouse for a decade or a little more than a decade, probably. It was just such a beautiful, simple thing of how, when I found someone that believed in me and said he wasn't going to let me go anywhere. That was amazing. It was such a validation. He taught us discipline. He taught us that art is not an erratic thing, that it's a big, big responsibility, that a society is made of dreams, and the dreams are dreamt by artists. He gave us the tools to recognize that responsibility and do something about it, to express ourselves as artists in a way that was effective, moving, and could communicate stories, but also cultures, also stories that people could relate to, dreams and hopes that people could relate to. So he was fantastic. I also studied with Ivana Čapek, and I think she's absolutely brilliant as well. Completely different approach, but that's the beauty. I mean, I've studied with different people who I think have been contributed very much to my technique and freeing my way of communicating, right? Anything is as alive as it can communicate. A relationship is as alive as it can communicate. People are as alive as they can communicate. And art is as alive as it can communicate. And as artists, that's what we do. So what I love about Ivana Čapek is her ability to make you more efficient in that communication, and how every scene that is in a script, I mean, the scenes are there because they're exceptional moments in someone's life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in a script. They would land on the floor. They're in a script because they're exceptional, whether they're simple or not, but they're exceptional moments, and one has to treat them as such. So how she breaks it down and you understand, or you come to understand, it's not that it contradicts what Milton did. It complements it in a much broader way. Diane Castle was a wonderful coach as well. I mean, she's brilliant, completely different in the essence of being something.
Wow.
I think I also grew up into the woman that I became through acting, because I was rather shy.
That's hard to believe. It sounds like me. I was the same. I was the shyest person in the world.
I think because we come from a kind of strict and old-fashioned upbringing, the Greek Italian.
Yes.
So our parents, and I speak for both, correct me if I'm wrong for you, but our parents in the generation where we are born about, they had a hard time to let go of what they learned. And then finding themselves in maybe northern city or different place, and then you're moving even to America, there's such a big gap. There is like 150 years of a gap, 100 years at least, from South Italy and South Greece, of mentality, of culture. And there is a way, it's like it was their way of holding on to that culture, not wanting to let go, and then enforce it into us. And that created a lot of insecurities because you don't really identify with that. It's not your narrative. It's not my narrative. It's not my environment. It's not the story. It's not the story I want to tell. And so I think through that, maybe that answers also the question of why I went on a journey to understand more religions, more cultures, more, to find my truth, to build my truth, to create my truth, like a recipe of things I liked, to find out who Sofia is. And it was not easy. It's extraordinarily humbling what I chose to do, but I never chose the easy way.
Women, especially with other women, they have to learn to celebrate one another. We go yakety, 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 gossip, gossip, gossip. We like go, what? It's just, why? And that's what I love about you, Sophia, because I know that you mentioned so much about women causes. And it's no coincidence that you quoted, or at least you listed 3 women in Hollywood that had an effect of you, which I think in so many ways embody who you are. Sophia Loren, then you have Lucille Ball, and then you have Katharine Hepburn, which is amazing, like smart, funny, classy, beautiful, sexy, like everything that these women are about. And they were rebels too, warriors, right? You list them there.
So I love strong women. I love beautiful women. I get inspired by beautiful women. I love actresses who, on the screen inspire me, and the ones that I mentioned, because they maybe have traveled, have transcended, have increased or bettered the narrative, have entertained in a sublime, passionate way, because I am pretty passionate myself. Just before the Me Too movement, now things are starting to change and the narrative is changing a bit, and we have ways to go. We've come a great way because we're more aware of it. But I think women have been suppressed by culture, by marriage, by teaching, by so many elements. It can't be overseen. It can't be ignored. I do think there is a lot more roles with stronger women than even 20 years ago when I did the Mafia boss Annalisa Zucca. David Chase gave me incredible freedom to play a woman that strong opposite James Gandolfini, a man, twice my size and height, and playing a big mafia boss. He allowed me to be a mafia boss, a woman, a Neapolitan woman that was an equal in her country, but also very feminine.
Times have changed, Sophia, as you and I know, and what makes me happy is you're seeing more opportunities for actresses, let's say over 40, to be in great, meaningful roles. There is more roles for actresses who are not necessarily a size 0. It's opened up a lot. You are finding ways through fitness, through eating well, through sleeping well. What are some of the things that you apply to yourself every day to keep yourself young, beautiful, but also, in good mental shape as well?
Medication is not the solution. Whatever raises your endorphin level, you get the body going. It raises endorphin level. We don't need drugs to do that. So my choices are more aligned. They start from the mindset that I have, that I work on every day. The mindset is definitely a muscle. Like you work your muscles, you have to keep working on your mindset, whether it is about your career, whether it is about marriage, whether it's about friendship. We have to work on that. And so I take the time, I carve out the time in my day where I dedicate it to mindset, to whether it's praying or meditation, whether it is going on a course, whether it is, learning, reading, and then taking care of myself. My choice then naturally would be to take care of myself. I eat well. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I have fun. I put my attention on positive things, on things I can control instead of things I cannot control. I fuel my passion every day. That is a muscle as well. You have to keep fueling yourself. When you're past 20, it goes down if you don't feed that. We have to feed what is important to us and why it is important. Don't worry about how, you go for it. Take actions every day.
How do you define yourself in 3 words?
Passion. Absolutely passion.
Yes.
Curiosity. Childlike.
Perfect. I love that because I think this is exactly what our podcast was about today. It was about passion, it was about curiosity, and it was about approaching life with childlike wonder.